How do we listen to what we really need? And through that, how do we learn how to say no to what it is that doesn't actually serve us? So, this is just a very brief bonus episode of the podcast, a little thought reflection to just see what it might inspire for you, what it might spark for you. And as so many of my reflections are, this one is founded on coffee drinking and small squares of chocolate. So this morning I was sitting in the stable, which is slowly becoming my new workspace. Oh my goodness, it's such a glorious spot. It opens out onto the most spectacular view on the farm, and just sitting there with the big double doors wide open and looking at the view, having a coffee with Anton. And I'm in the COVID recovery phase, which is the reason why my voice is a little bit more growly than usual, and I'm desperately hoping that I don't have a coughing fit while I'm talking with you right now. But having that coffee, I suddenly realised that I didn't actually want to drink any more of it. And I didn't want to take another bite of my half-nibbled square of chocolate that I always have with my espresso in the morning. And so I put them both down. Now, in the past, I would definitely have finished them. I know that partly comes from being a child of the 70s, where so many of my generation grew up being told that we had to finish everything that was on our plate. And that came from a very beautiful, loving place, that desire not to waste anything, from parents who grew up during rationing after the Second World War. But that mindset of you have to finish everything, it's not necessarily what serves us. And and so in the past, I would almost certainly have just barreled on through that thought that I didn't want it anymore, and I'd have carried on consuming it. It would have been um, it would have been a conscious choice to ignore what it was that my body was actually saying to me. And now, even now, I mean, certainly even now, I definitely see that I have an unconscious response when my body says I don't want it. That means that I barrel on through that request from her, and I will continue to consume something even though I know it's not really what I want. And so this is sort of part of my practice, really, is like, so how do we ever, deepen that awareness, deepen our listening of ourselves, or our listening to ourselves. And so it struck me when I was reflecting on it just now that there's something about being ill, actually, that gives us an opportunity to reset. And hopefully that illness is short-lived. Hopefully that illness is just something which is a trough or a peak that appears in the line of our life. And in those moments where our body is really asking us for some attention, it is a beautiful opportunity to really feel into what is it that our body is asking of us, and to turn toward her or to him or they or them or whatever, however we might refer to our own bodies, and to ask, what is it you need, my love? And I'm deeply aware as I say this that for many of us, illness isn't just a peak or a trough. It's something that we have to live with all the time. And so I suppose if that is your reality, it's also about really deepening in your awareness to ask yourself, what is it that you need, my love, in order that we can always turn toward ourselves with the greatest love and compassion. And in my example here, it feels it's such a slight thing, isn't it? Just choosing not to finish your coffee or choosing not to eat a little square of chocolate. But it felt quite a big thing for me. And I think sort of so much of this work is not to skirt past the things that we might ignore or the things that we might consider to be trifling, and to really be in that moment and see, oh, okay, there, I am making a choice there. And appreciate that choice that we are making. And there's something here as well about bringing ease to that process of choice. It felt very easy for me when I really listened to what my body was saying and I responded to that without bringing a whole load of stories, without bringing a whole load of resistance to it. And I just responded in the most natural way and said, oh, I don't want it anymore. That's okay. I don't want it. Rather than how I know I would have responded in the past, which would have been a bit of lack would have come up, that little part that goes like, oh, well, you don't know when you're next going to get a piece of chocolate, or you don't know when you're next going to get that little caffeine hit. And, to be able to really calm her and say, it's okay, my darling, like right now it's not what we need, and that's okay. So let's really listen to what we need. So the reflection here really is in those moments where you notice that perhaps as you reach for something, maybe it's your phone, maybe it's an item of food, maybe it's shopping, whatever it might be, whatever those things that are that we use to distract ourselves, to try and satisfy an unspoken need, is to turn in to that and to say, what is it that you really need, my love? And then to respond to that. Okay, my darlings. I look forward to seeing you in season 8. There might be another couple of little bonus episodes that pop up between now and then. Who knows? All right. I send you a hug and a wave.